everybody,
Okay.
and a very warm welcome to each of you in our audience. Um, we are at episode 6 of Loud Cry podcast, and this podcast is really going to be a difficult one. And it's about the mRNA injections and the fear propaganda around it, and maybe have they taken things a bit further than what we thought they have. So we're going to listen to J. Philip Jimenez first. He's going to give us the feedback on his research and what he found. And then I give you a very detailed slideshow in which I give you the stats and the figures, everything, the ingredients, everything that you need to know um, about the injections. You would notice that I don't call them vaccines, I call them injections, and you will see why. But
hmm
first,
hmm
very warm welcome, J. Philip. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure, as always. What we should do is back up a little bit and review, understanding that the COVID operation was part of a micro operation under Gladio C, and this micro operation was called Operation Lockstep, and it had a number of purposes. One of them was it was a bioweapon. It is a bioweapon,
Correct.
and it was specifically tailored to attack certain genetic bloodlines.
Absolutely.
Um, and when you take a step back from that, you remember there was what in the 90s there was bird flu, swine flu, or something, and
Correct.
there was a maybe 50 people who died from those was attributed to the vaccines at that time, and
I remember.
nobody had remember that nobody had
Mm,
any difficulty or nobody raised any objections to
mm.
shelving the so-called vaccine. It was like, well,
Yes.
yeah, maybe we should shelve it because there's some questions around, even though the deaths were, I think, in the 50s.
Yes.
And now we have deaths, as you know, the very conservative estimate is in 11 million, but I'm sure it's more than double that.
Correct.
You would know better than I do, but and that there's no outcry, and in fact, it's rather the opposite. Those who are saying, "Hey, there's something wrong here," they are attacked and vilified and
Yes,
mocked.
they're being
Still,
incarcerated. It's the persecution is extreme. The doctors I've used this time is doctors that's been persecuted heavily. So it's a little bit more than, humiliation and ostracizing. That put them in jail. So there's something big going on.
you even see it on social media. You still see the normies out there with their laughing. You show stats that show people are dying, and they respond with the laughing emoji
I know.
and this sort of truck. They still have this
Blows your
truculence
mind.
about them, this
Yes.
self-righteousness in spite
Yes.
of all the evidence. And
Absolutely.
my question, we did the first segment, it was on mind control, and it's
Correct.
still, mind control is still the the primary element here in all of this. But the
Absolutely.
question is, how did we go from a society that says, hey, when there's 50 deaths, like, hey, maybe we should be cautious here,
Mm.
to a society where you have millions of
Yes.
deaths, and people are still uh,
Oblivious.
so brainwashed.
Correct.
They're
Correct.
able to tune it out. How did that happen?
I
That
don't
is,
know.
to say it's dramatic is an understatement.
Absolutely.
So
It is.
there's that element. And I think it was tied up, a lot of it had to do with the political bifurcation that between, Trump, the hatred of Trump, and
Mhm.
the whole splitting to where, like I remember growing up in the United States in the
Mm,
70s,
mm.
and people who had like Republicans and Democrats could argue, and at the end of the day, they would go have a beer together and say, "Hey, you gave me something to think
Yes.
about," and how
Yes.
just in the last 10 years, that's now impossible. You
Mm.
can't get through to anybody who
Yes.
perceives you as even having a difference of opinion.
Correct.
So that brings us to the second. So the purpose, the depopulation function of
Mm-hmm.
COVID, but just also to remind people that this was all under the umbrella of Gladio C, and that the blueprints for Gladio C were drawn up by the end of 2012, which is going to
Okay.
be hard for a lot of people to accept.
Mm-hmm.
This seems extremely bizarre. It seems too
Mm-hmm.
much. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
telling you the best information that I have, and I
Correct.
trust my source.
No, you are spot on. If
And
you listen to Dr. Judy Mankiewicz, she will tell you that
oh,
Anthony
she's wonderful.
Fauci
Yeah.
has patented this injection a long time before there was any word of a pandemic. So you are 100% correct.
So, but Gladio C is a little bit of a different thing.
Mm,
I don't, there are many different operations under Gladio C,
mhm.
the migrant caravans, the president, the succession of presidencies, the J6
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
operation, all of the mass shootings and the assassinations,
Mhm,
all of these operations as well. George
mm.
Floyd was also something that was they didn't know exactly who they were going to use for these operations, but they had intended to do them, and all of this was blueprinted by the end of
Correct.
2012. But in 2013, in April of 2013, you have Obama's Brain Initiative, which was the basis
Okay.
for this, the other purpose of the injections, which was something much darker, and which to me um, um, explains this madness to try to get everybody injected against all reason,
Absolutely.
where
And
people were
you
rushed to
know, they
go
were,
ahead.
sorry, they were very insidious with their persecution. If you remember that president of Tanzania, if you go and try to find if there were specific things they had to do with, now there's 195 countries in the world. Okay, Tanzania is not part of the WHO, and Kosovo is not, is only a partial recognized state. But all the other countries are now member states of the WHO. And they only call it guidelines. But the moment that the president of Tanzania didn't want to go with their guidelines, what they had to do for COVID, they murdered him. I know they said in mainstream media, oh, it was a heart attack, it was this. They murdered him because he questioned the injections, he questioned the testing, he questioned the reporting that he had to give. He said to them, I'm not reporting in the way they want to do. Died with COVID
Mm-hmm,
instead of died from COVID. So they just took him out.
mm-hmm.
So you are 100% correct. The persecution is very, very bad. And that is how they got everyone on board. That's how they do it.
Right. I remember when he came out with his statement, and everyone who with a brain applauded his courage
Mm,
and his clarity on this issue.
mm.
And then when he was assassinated, there was very little said about it. Like, I didn't
Yes.
find out about it immediately.
Mm,
And it's amazing how they're able to manipulate the flow of information.
absolutely.
Uh, so, but so the other behind the under it could have been any president, happened to be
Mm,
Obama, the brain
mm.
initiative, DARPA's brain initiative,
Yes.
researching innovative nanotechnology ostensibly to help people with neurological disorders.
Correct.
But this was a cover which obscured the primary purpose, the research and development of neurotechnology, specifically designed to cross the blood-brain barrier and establish bidirectional interfaces, not unidirectional. There was one of these tech bros, what was his name? I'll think of it later, but he said, it might be good. People might behave better if they knew they were always being surveilled.
Oh,
And I thought, well, that's really dishonest because it's bi-directional, which means yes, you're under surveillance. You're under emotional and mental surveillance as well as all your physical movements,
yes,
but you're being influenced. It's bi-directional, which means they can
correct.
use EMP devices and they can affect your cognitive processes.
Oh,
They can intervene. They'll be able to intervene if you have thoughts that are outside of the box that they don't want you to have.
oh, my
So
heart.
it isn't just going around, oh, I better be good because they're watching me. It's like they're going to be impinging in your mental processes. So
Sure.
we're facing a reality where we will not have mental sovereignty.
No free will. That's what they're taking away.
Right. This is a fundamental shift in world history. Are
Correct.
we going to continue to be creative beings with a will, with a soul, or are we going to be a form of controlled cattle, as it were?
Oh,
You know, we're at that
yes.
phase.
Mm.
So uh, the level of sophistication involved, this takes everything before it leaves it in the dust. The extraordinary sophistication. First of all, these nanosensors are about 100 nanometers. They're smaller than a red
Awful.
blood cell,
Sure.
and they're engineered to traverse the blood-brain barrier. And they have a high-tech hydrogel that uh, allows for the stable suspension and controlled deployment of thousands of these things, if not millions. I don't quite know,
Yes. Yes.
in just a few millimeters of this injectable solution.
Correct.
And so this hydrogel has unique viscoelastic properties, facilitate the uniform distribution of biosensors throughout the bodily systems while preventing
Sure.
premature degradation, or getting them to all clump together. It keeps them all nicely
Spread.
suspended.
Okay.
So it represents a fundamental shift in biointerface technology. So you don't need to, people talk about brain chips. We're going to get chipped. Like, we're way beyond the necessity for chipping. We're beyond surgical
Exactly.
implantation,
Exactly.
and we no longer have the limitations that were imposed by the size and power requirements. How do you keep these things powered up?
Yes.
These next things, of course, they're sub-micron scale, approximately 100 nanometers. They're able to circulate through the finest capillaries, and they're
Sure.
self-powered as well. So they don't
Oh,
have to worry about, they
batteries or
harvest biochem. They don't, yeah, they harvest literally. This is just mind blowing. They harvest biochemical energy from their biological environments, eliminating the need for external power sources that would limit their operational lifespan and detectability. So very hard to
sure.
detect because they are so tiny. They are, again, bidirectional, which means they can both monitor neural
Mm.
activity and
Think
deliver
out.
stimuli or instructions to specific neural networks, effectively creating a two-way interface between digital systems and human cognition.
Oh, this is
They can
horrific
form,
information. Do you know what they can do to your body? It's like that's what was those little dolls that you it's something like that.
it is a bit like that because
Mm,
um, I remember reading about this. Apparently, it, in, from what I know in the
mm,
Haitian community, if the community gets together and they say, hey, there's a guy who lives among us and he's a real jerk and he's abusive and violent
mm,
and he makes our lives miserable, they go to the witch doctor and the witch doctor says,
mm.
okay. And they have this substance, this chemical substance and they
Mm.
deploy it,
Sure.
they blow it onto the guy or something,
Mm.
and then he goes into a zombified state. They bury him for 3 days. He looks dead. He looks and appears dead.
Goodness.
They take him out of the grave and they tell him, now you are a slave of the witch doctor. You have no will
Sure.
of your own.
Sure.
He's like, I've got your soul in this container.
It's so
So
much
it
like
was,
this whole thing.
it is, but it is in the case of the Haitian community, at least it's based on some form of justice. It's
Yeah.
somebody that is a terror to
Sort
the
of
community.
earned it. Yeah.
Yes. And in this case, it's turning everybody into effectively a zombified or Frankenstein sort of,
Correct.
um,
Philip,
there's
do
this
you
talk
know
about,
how scary is it what you are telling me? Because you will see on my side, on the slideshow I did, of the Seventh-day Adventist Church only, I haven't even looked at the other Protestant churches. 93% of them have been injected with this stuff. So only 7%
yeah.
are people that will not be controlled. That means this 93% is going to persecute their own people, the 7% that didn't get it, through this
Oh yeah.
technology. And I know
Oh yeah.
what you're saying is true, because Dr. Arders and a lot of the other doctors took blood samples. They showed us the glow up of the nanotechnology in the blood, and there are millions of them in those blood samples from the people who got the vax. And that you
Mhm.
say that they don't just accumulate in one place. The guys who does the autopsies didn't just pull out one spaghetti string of that stuff. They find it everywhere in that person's body. So it goes everywhere, like you say. And that biologist, Schulcher or something, I can never pronounce his surname. He's on my slideshow. He said they have so much proof that the mRNA vaccine goes through the blood-brain barrier. So everything you say adds up to what I found as well.
I was wondering if the mRNA whole issue of the mRNA is not a distraction, and
Mm,
that the real issue are these nanoscopic
mm,
biosensors.
mm.
This is what's being covered up with all the talk about mRNA and
Yes,
spike proteins. I mean, yeah, that's a concern, and we're getting the blood clots and
yes,
the myocardial infarction or whatever
correct.
that is. You have to consider religion, media, academia, anything of any importance, which means I don't advise that people join groups or form
Absolutely,
coalitions or start movements. It's the
absolutely. I
dumbest
cannot
thing
agree
in the
with you
world.
more. Absolutely. Absolutely. My nature is like that as well. When I see a clique or a little groupie, I put my Nikes on and I run in the opposite direction. I don't look back and I don't stop running. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like 100 years ago, perhaps there was still an open window for people organizing and getting things done. That is no longer an option, in my
No,
opinion. I don't
no.
think things are hopeless, but back to these biosensors, they are equipped with sufficient computational capacity to process signals locally and transmit only the relevant data, reducing detectability and energy requirements. They can go to the relevant regions of the brain to to control or initiate cognition, certain kinds of ideas or emotions.
Yes,
So
emotions
they can
especially.
manipulate people. Yeah, they can
Yeah.
manipulate people emotionally. Biogel, of course, enables a long-term stability and functionality of the embedded biosensors.
Okay.
And it provides a protective microenvironment that prevents the immune system from reacting to
Okay. Okay.
these nanoparticles. So this represents a quantum leap in biodigital interface capabilities. So this is the biodigital convergence,
Mm-hmm.
when they believe that through their technology they will have mastery over the creation of the universe, come on. Like, they believe they have such a high opinion of their technical capabilities, which I admit are pretty astonishing. But if you compare it to the creations of nature, it's very primitive. They think they're better than God. I think
Yes.
they think that that nature is primitive and their technology is superior. When in fact, if you look at it on the very, on the subatomic,
Mm,
but even on this level,
yes.
it's clunky.
He just created us so incredibly that your entire body just rejects it. It's like the whole system is just saying no. Get this stuff together in a group and let's just get it out. That's exactly what it does with broken down cells and toxins in your body. It gathers it together and it flushes it out. Now, unfortunately, these spaghetti things are too long and the body is struggling with it. But still, you can see how the body is totally, totally rejecting this. It's too beautiful.
But my concern is that they will accomplish what they need to accomplish before enough people are able to
Yes, yes.
rid themselves of this.
Mm.
And unfortunately, I think there are billions of people who are not interested or aware or even interested. Uh,
Exactly. Or that even likes it, who thinks it's something wonderful. Have you thought about that?
yeah, I was thinking about that this morning. I was imagining like a science fiction scenario where you're allowed to not just, let's say, it can degrade your personal sovereignty to be creative and think your own thoughts. But what if it allowed you to purchase, as it were, through your labor, or uh, kind of like tokenized incremental
Oh, oh,
improvements in your
yes.
ability.
Oh,
So if you wanted to become a super version of yourself, they would allow certain upgrades in
yes,
certain capabilities that you
yes.
would have. I
Oh,
was,
this can go so many ways. Disturbing, not scary. Disturbing to the most basic level you can imagine.
but how can you communicate to people that it's scary if they have
Exactly.
no internal sense of that,
Yeah,
you know?
and that is what's I am going to try and show you now in the next part of this program. I go into the details of these injections, and you can see that there's absolutely nothing medically sound for you in them. And that should
Good.
turn your mind to what Philip has just told us.
I think that's, as long as people understand that uh, this aspect of it that is often neglected, that it's a bidirectional biosensors, that this is probably the reason they're building all these data fusion centers and data centers,
Correct.
because
Oh,
they need to store huge amounts of
Donna.
data in order to have it, to perfect this, what the kinds of things that are going to be harvested as a result of this. So
Yes.
that's basically it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that technical research, and you've given it over so easily, so nicely, easy to understand. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Slideshow for the mRNA injection. And I just want to take you through the things that most of us already know, but just for those who is still catching up, this is what this slideshow is for. So the first slide, I just want to share the scripture with you, 1 Corinthians 3:16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy. For the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are. And then Dr. Mark Bailey, whom I introduced to you on the previous episode, medical doctor, says years of brainwashing at medical school, pride, peer pressure, and financial pressure keeps most medical doctors from even exploring alternative viewpoints and methods. Then Dr. Rainer Filmich, the lawyer that is in incarcerated in Germany at the moment. He was illegally abducted on a false claim because he stood up for COVID. And he says, and I quote, the deployment of COVID and the so-called vaccines represents the biggest crime against humanity ever perpetrated. Now, this man fought battles for corruption, big companies, which he won, claims he's won. He would not make such a statement for no reason. What is the agenda, really, of these mRNA injections? It's depopulation. They want to bring the global population down from 8.2 billion to 3 billion. There are many witnesses of Bill Gates saying this, many videos. I'll put everything for you in the links on descriptions. How many people has been injected with this bioweapon? 5.5 billion people. Eradicating of Protestantism. I'll show you now. Total control through CDID. That's your central digital ID and the central digital banking currency. And Dr. Judith Mikovits says, every vaccine since 1986 has been a bioweapon. Vaccination is not immunization. It is sterilization and extermination. And she's talking about all vaccines. That includes every vaccine that you put into your child. Nicholas Holscher, biologist, very brilliant doctor. mRNA vaccines have killed 470,000 to 840,000 Americans and functioned as sterilization agents among survivors. America's birth rate has now collapsed to an all-time low. Years later, people are still dying from sudden cardiac arrest and turbo cancers. This is not accidental. Old newspaper, you can see how young Bill Gates is there. Depopulation through forced vaccination, the zero carbon solution. This is not new. Bill Gates has been recorded 4 times on video saying he wants to reduce the population of the earth through vaccination, and yet the average person believes that the vaccines exist to make them healthy and help them live longer. This sort of dumbness can only be produced inside the government school system. We told you, we showed you how they dumb down people through the education system, through propaganda, through mind control, which appears designed to manufacture an endless line of non-thinking TV watchers ripe for sacrifice. Constant lying is not aimed at making the people believe a lie, but at ensuring that no one believes anything anymore. A people that can no longer distinguish between truth and lies cannot distinguish between right and wrong. With such a people, you can do whatever you want. Hannah Arendt, October 1906, December 1975, German historian and philosopher. Eradicating Protestantism. One of our big evangelists in the Seventh-day Adventist Church said when COVID started, this you're going to see, they're going to hit the Protestant countries first. Here it is. Records show that the Protestant countries have the highest mRNA injection rates. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, UK, Australia, New Zealand, US. I'm only using 2 regional internal church records of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which is probably the most prominent Protestant church in the world. I'm only taking North American division and Germany. Between 67.5 to 93% of all Seventh-day Adventists got the first shot at least. That means only 7% of the Protestant Seventh-day Adventist Church has not been injected with this bioweapon. And at this date, this was this little clip I got 2 days ago. Church stand on vaccination. This is the SDA website, health main website of my Indian Ocean Division. Church members are encouraged to have the COVID vaccination for their own protection, good health, unnecessary financial expenditure, emotional trauma, longevity, and others. This would also help to prevent the spread of COVID to others, especially those close to you. Now, if you've watched the previous episode, and you'll see everything I show you on here, this to me is unacceptable. The person in charge of the health ministry in the Indian Ocean Division needs to change this website because only 7% of SDAs has not gotten the vaccination. And it's because of this guidance that is completely wrong. And I'm going to show you why now. Now, the countries, and I'm not just talking about countries, I'm talking about people and doctors and scientists. What was the consequences of the countries or the leaders that questioned this mRNA injection and this whole COVID narrative? I'm only using one example. This is the late president of Tanzania. This is President John Magufuli. He was president in Tanzania 2015 to 17 March 2021. He questioned the PCR testing of COVID. You will remember, I think they did a test with the PCR on a pawpaw or something, and it came out that the pawpaw had COVID. And he showed this to the world, how ridiculous this test is. Even the inventor, the guy who made PCR testing, said it is totally irrelevant for what they are using it for. But we now also know that the COVID virus doesn't exist. So what exactly were they testing? He told his country to follow traditional natural remedies, criticized the mRNA injections, limited the reporting on COVID in his country. Why should he give the World Health Organization the information? I'm 100% behind him. This is a sovereign state. Then he mysteriously disappeared late February 21, as exactly at the time when they rolled out the mRNA vaccine. Now, this president just disappears mysteriously, and he was declared dead and found on the 17th of March 2021. And they said in mainstream media it was from natural causes, heart attack, complications of COVID. They lied, they murdered him. They murdered President John Magufuli because he stood up against them. He said, this is ridiculous. Now, in the world, there's 195 recognized states, right? Of the 195, Taiwan is not a member of the World Health Organization, and Kosovo is only partially recognized as a state. So 193 countries in the world currently. So that means everyone are members of the World Health Organization. Right. Now you understand how the whole world capitulated to the circus. How were countries penalized that did not go according to the guidance of the World Health Organization? They were penalized with travel restrictions, economic sanctions, scientific funding and opportunities were limited, reputational damage, political penalties, regime change like in Tanzania, diplomatic relations were scarred. Yes, they didn't make it public, but they forced these countries to follow their guidelines. Right, I'm going to give you 5 doctors again, doctors and scientists, biologists, and their findings and medical opinions regarding the mRNA injections. You would see that I don't call them vaccinations, I call them injections because they are bioweapons. It's poison that they are injecting to you. It's not an immunization or vaccination. Okay. I'm using Dr. Judy Mikovich, Dr. Dennis Rancourt, Dr. Peter McCullough, Dr. John Campbell, and Dr. Dave Cartlin. There are many more. I'm just using these. Dr. Judy Mikovich, I have so much love and respect for this doctor. COVID was premeditated murder, and vaccination is not immunization. It's extermination. It's a lot of big words there. Sure. Qualifications: American molecular biologist and former research scientist, former research director at the Whitmore Peterson Institute in Nevada, conducted research in virology, immunology, and chronic disease, co-authored scientific papers, and well known in the documentary Plandemic. And I put the links for Plandemic for you in the descriptions. I also put a link of an interview they had with you. You can hear what they did to this woman. She was arrested. This woman worked with Anthony Fauci. She knew exactly what he was doing. He patented HIV. He patented this COVID vaccine long before there was any COVID. She exposed him and they arrested her on false claims, just like they did with Dr. Rainer Filmich now. She lost the position at the Whitmore Peterson Institute, and social media platforms removed nearly all of her podcasts, books, and information during the COVID period in order for people not to know the truth. This doctor's Plandemic, the book and the video and the interview I put on for you, you have to see it. It's heartbreaking. Dr. Dennis Rancourt, this is the guy I also told you that you can use to search for the masks, or how effective the masks were. His qualifications: Canadian physicist and researcher, former full professor at the University of Ottawa, published extensively in physics and materials science, later focused on statistical analysis of mortality data and public health outcomes. His persecution and professional consequences: long history of disputes with the University of Ottawa before COVID. We probably realized the education system is not right. Lost his professorship following conflicts with university administration. During COVID, many of his findings were rejected or criticized by mainstream institutions, and we know that mainstream media is controlled by the Jesuits, so there's no ways that you can break through. Frequently excluded from mainstream media discussions regarding pandemic policy. Summary of his professional views on mRNA injections: he's argued that excess mortality data do not support official COVID narratives, and I agree. Claims vaccine-related mortality may be substantially underestimated, I agree. Studies done by him and his team estimates the death toll from mRNA injections from late 2022 to now to be at least 17 million deaths globally. I'm telling you now, it's way more than that. Right, then we have Dr. Peter McCullough. This guy is in court permanently. Qualifications and experience: American cardiologist, internist, epidemiologist, former vice chief of internal medicine at Baylor University Medical Center, published hundreds of scientific papers, frequently cited during the pandemic as one of the most prominent physician critics of official COVID policies. You will see he's especially looking at myocarditis, pericarditis, all the cardiovascular diseases. He points out that it's harmed a lot of young guys, especially the guys that do sport. You can see the link that I put in the descriptions. If some of you called these court cases, you can go and look at all of them. Then Dr. John Campbell. This is my favorite guy in the whole world. This is a British nurse, educator, and health lecturer. Now, this guy, in the beginning, he's also got a PhD in advanced nursing education. So he's not, this guy is in the field. He's like worked with the stuff. And in the beginning, he was for the mRNA vaccine. And then he saw what's going on. And he started researching and finding statistics. And he is using all the statistic platforms you can think of. There's not one rock he hasn't lifted up. He's looking at government stats. He's looking at various vaccine adverse effects, excess mortality, insurance companies, scientific papers, testimonies. There's nothing that he has not looked at, and he keeps on telling the world the excess death mortality rates are too high, and it's not stopping. He's still busy doing it, and he's been doing it every single day since the mRNA rollout started. I'm putting his link for you on the description. Go and listen to him, and you can see the statistics for yourself. Right, then Dr. David Cartland. This poor doctor, I'm putting a very nice video of him where he's in the middle of COVID and he's warning his colleagues, please think what you do before you inject people. Think of why you became a doctor, beautiful doctor, and they persecuted him mercilessly. He's a British, Dr. David Cartland, British general practitioner, worked in primary care and became widely known through social media commentary during and after the COVID pandemic. Persecution and professional consequences, faced disciplinary proceedings before the UK's medical regulator. In 2025, a tribunal found multiple allegations of misconduct proven, which is a lie. It's because he stood up against COVID and he didn't want to give the injections, leading to serious professional sanctions. Supporters argue he was targeted because of his vaccine criticism. So his position on mRNA vaccines states that he observed significant vaccine-related injuries among patients. You will see on the video, he tells you what he sees every day. Has argued that adverse events have been underreported, became a vocal critic of COVID vaccination campaigns and mandates, and has said he felt a moral duty to warn the public about what he viewed as vaccine harms. Go into my description and watch the videos. Right, then there are many lists of the ingredients. I can't put all of them up, there are too many. And I've only taken the good ingredients, if you can call it that, not even the real harmful ones. Now, this is the ones that I use in nearly all the vaccines. Formaldehyde is used as a raw material for industrial resins, as a preservative in funeral settings. Potassium chloride is used as a key raw material in agricultural fertilizers. Aluminum overdose can cause osteomalacia, bone disease, and neurological problems. Neomycin, long-term or systemic use, can damage the inner ear. You will hear many of the people who got those injections says they've got ringing in the ear, they've got ear problems, eye problems, possibly causing permanent hearing loss, can cause vomiting, diarrhea, highly toxic for kidneys, can cause skin discomfort, itching, and redness. SV40, what scientists put in mice to make them grow tumors, and we are now putting it into your newborn baby. Right, when people say they got the flu vaccine and got the flu anyway, no, they got poisoned, and the body's response to being poisoned is to get sick, to remove the poisons because you were injected with poison. So you get a fever, you get body aches. It's like someone who's got flu, your body is trying to get rid of the poison they've just injected into you. From a newspaper clipping, as the number of dead and seriously and or permanently disabled caused by the COVID-19 injections reaches heights beyond imagination. The question now is, who needs to be prosecuted? Then Pfizer's own data. This comes from their own database. Spike in miscarriages, 279%. Spike in breast cancer, 487%. Spike in nervous system, 1,048%. Spike in birth defects, 155%. Spike in male infertility, 350%. Spike in testicular cancer, 369%. Spike in hypertension, 2,181%. Spike in malignant neoplasms, 664%. Spike in multiple sclerosis, 680%. Spike in Guillain-Barré syndrome. So by the way, Guillain-Barré syndrome is one of the main effects of the Johnson & Johnson injection that they gave to the people in South Africa. 551% spike. 468% spike in pulmonary embolism and myocarditis, pericarditis, all the CVDs. 302% spike in tachycardia. 452% spike in migraines. 471% in female infertility. 437% spike in ovarian dysfunction. 269% spike in myocardial infarction, 291% spike in Bell's palsy. Now, let me tell you, as a natural remedies trained person, if your circulation is not correct, if your digestive system is not working, you're going to suffer from all kinds of maladies. If those nanoparticles that J. Philip told us about accumulates in your veins, they make these long spaghetti blood clots. It's not blood clots, it's this poison that your body pushes into one little place. Then it blocks that artery and then your trouble starts. Okay, so they renamed the COVID jab reaction shingles as monkeypox. Page 34 of the PF notes, one fake virus to another. And so they've named all the viruses, fake viruses, names after every vaccination and the side effects it causes. This is what it looks like when it's really severe. That's a very bad case of shingles. Right, now, when we were little, when my child was little, I think they got like 12 injections. Now the schedule is now on 38 of these poisonous injections. I've just showed you what are in these injections. 38 of them they're now pushing into your child. What changed in the last 30 years as these schedules increased? ADHD up with 819%. Alzheimer's disease, 299%. Autism, you hear J. Philip says he's got adult autism. You hear it very often. 2,094% spike. Bipolar disease in youth, 10,833%. So this affects them psychologically as well. Celiac disease, 1,111%. Chronic fatigue syndrome, 11,027%. Depression, 280%. Diabetes, 305%. Fibromyalgia, 7,272%. Your mind cannot even process this. Hypothyroidism, 702%. Lupus, 787%. Osteoarthritis, 449%. Sleep apnea, 430%. 5 US states file lawsuit against Pfizer over alleged concealment of COVID vaccine heart and pregnancy risks. They lied. They hid the information. And Dr. Tom Cohen cannot say it any better. You're not being infected. You are being poisoned. Inside the FDA's cover-up of child deaths linked to COVID vaccines, they hide it from you. Forensic doctors around the world are reporting something deeply disturbing, the formation of unprecedented, strange fibrous clots. So it's these long spaghetti clots that I explained to you now. It's these nanoparticles. Your body pushes them all together, and now your body needs to get rid of that mess. And that is why you are sick. Caused by COVID vaccines that obstruct the veins and arteries of vaccinated people and cause sudden and unexpected death. If I was a person who got this injection, I would go immediately, let them pump contrast into my veins, put me in a MRI scanner, see where's the blockage, cut open the vein, pull it out, sew it up, pops your ankle. There you go. That's what I would do, but I didn't take it because my brain works. Right. These are some of the things that the COVID vaccines causes, but the list is never ending. Sudden kidney failure, pulmonary embolism, stroke, thrombocytopenia, cancer growth, faster dementia, clots and hemorrhages, and I said to you, myocarditis, pericarditis, all the CVDs. Dr. Toby Rogers, PhD, I believe that we are in the midst of one of the greatest crimes in human history. We have a product being injected into children 70 times, that's more, that's never been tested against a proper saline placebo. Chronic illness has gone from 10% to more than 50%, so they are making billions from you. Doctors in USA admit they killed patients during the pandemic by putting them on ventilators. Those ventilators were the worst protocol for what they thought happened in the beginning. And if you listen to Dr. Ardis, we think they poisoned the water. They put poison in the water. And for that specific poison, the worst thing you could have done was put someone on a ventilator. That's why the people died. Why they didn't allow you into the hospital, not because of contagion, but because they were murdering people. Does Ellen G. White from the Seventh-day Adventist Church say anything about vaccines per se? No. Ellen G. White does not speak about vaccines in the modern sense in any clear, direct, or doctrinal way. Ellen G. White lived from 1827 to 1915, so she existed during the early days of vaccination, mainly for smallpox, inoculation, vaccination, but there is no known passage where she directly teaches for or against vaccines as a medical category. She does not develop a theology or doctrine about vaccination. She does not engage the modern vaccine debate, which is far later, especially 20th, 21st century public health frameworks. What does exist in her writings, important, she does speak broadly about trusting God in sickness and health, the use of natural remedies, caution against over-reliance on drugs of her era, 19th century medicine, hygiene, fresh air, water, rest, simple treatments. That's how you heal. Then this is a doctor from our church, Dr. Ben Carson. He's a medical doctor. He is of the opinion that the COVID vaccination effort was a giant experiment and expressed concerns about the long-term effects of the vaccines. Dr. Ben Carson, we must not allow what happened during COVID to be swept under the rug. Dr. Fauci eventually admitted that there was no science behind any of what he was saying. This makes me so angry. We know that the side effects from COVID vaccinations far exceeded anything else in the last 30 years combined. Now, I want to give you the definition of murder. Murder is an intentional killing that is unlawful. In other words, the killing isn't legally justified and committed with malice aforethought, intent to harm or kill, or reckless disregard for life. Now, to the Seventh-day Adventist Church members, the 7%, please listen to me. It's too late for the others, but you can still listen. The possibility of deception within the church. Scripture warns repeatedly that deception will become one of the defining characteristics of the last days. Jesus himself warned, "For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." Matthew 24:24. This warning was not directed primarily at unbelievers, but at God's people, you. The implication is that sincere believers are not immune to deception and must continually test every claim against Scripture and truth. The question, therefore, is not whether deception exists, but whether any institution, including the church, could be influenced by it. During the COVID era, the Seventh-day Adventist Church publicly encouraged vaccination. Not just then, they are still doing it. And many official church websites continue to describe COVID vaccines as safe and effective. After all this information, after 17 million people died, they still have it on their website. Many church members accepted these statements in good faith. Others became concerned as reports of vaccine injuries accumulated through systems such as VIAS in the United States, Yellow Card reporting in the UK, and IDRA vigilance in Europe. Even health authorities now acknowledge that mRNA vaccines can, in some cases, cause myocarditis and other adverse reactions. Now, let me tell you, if you got the mRNA real vaccine, if you listen to the doctors who knows what they're talking about, you are not in a good position. This has led some members to ask whether church institutions should have exercised greater caution before publicly endorsing these products. That is not free choice. The issue is not whether every vaccine injury claim is true. The issue is whether a church should speak with certainty on matters where scientific debate continues and where some members have experienced serious adverse outcomes, and that includes death, and I'm talking about plenty. Ellen White repeatedly warned God's people against surrendering individual judgment to human authorities. We are not to receive the words of men as though they were the words of God. Each believer has a responsibility to search, to study, and to test all things. The concern of many members is that trust in institutions can sometimes replace personal investigation. If that occurs, then the warning of Matthew 24 becomes highly relevant. The lesson for the last days is not merely about vaccines, it is about discernment. Every institution, every government, every corporation, and every church must ultimately be measured against truth, evidence, conscience, and mostly the Word of God. The question every believer should ask is not, what does my organization say? The question is, what is truth? And that is your responsibility. It's not the church's responsibility. Even if they did coerce you, if I can study, if I could find the truth, so could you. And then to our audience, thank you for joining us again. And we will see you next week again, Thursday, same place, same time. And next week, it will only be me giving you my personal testimony. And then we have one more program left where we're going to do geopolitics, where me and Philip will work together again. So, Philip, thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye. It was wonderful, all as always.
And this was my 6th loud cry.